Good morning. Today we're going to start on strategies for multiplication facts. And to be able to think in our brain of different ways to get to answers besides what a lot of students do is skip counting, which is good, but we want to work on being a little bit more efficient. So if I was trying to solve for 6 times 6, we could skip count, which means count by 6. We could say 6, 6 more would be 12, 6 more would be 18, plus 6 would be 24, plus 6 would be 30, plus 6 would be 36. So if we skip count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, that will tell us the answer to 6 groups of 6. So that's another thing I want to point out. We can always remember that this multiplication symbol means groups of. So 6 times 6 is 6 groups of 6. But if we think about our knowledge of easy, friendly facts, and I like to call these known facts. So we can solve any multiplication problem by starting with a known fact. So we know our 5s pretty easily. 5 times 6 is, say it in your head, 30. Now, if I know that if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 6, and I want to solve for the answer to 6 groups of 6, I can just add one more 6. So starting with a known fact would be starting with 5 times the number. So if I know 5 times 6 is 30, I can add 6 more, and that'll take me to my answer or my product, which is 36. So instead of having to count 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, I can just start with a known fact. Well, I know that 5 times 6 is 30, and then I'm being more efficient. We call this being efficient in math, which is doing something that is quick and easy and takes less time. So I can just add one more. Now this also works if you're trying to solve for 7 groups of 6. So if I want to know the answer to 7 groups of 6, I can start with a known fact of 5 groups of 6 once again. 5 groups of 6 is 30. Then I'm going to add one more group of 6 to get 36. And then I'm going to add one more group of 6 again to get 42. So 7 groups of 6 is 42. Or you could think about the break apart strategy and think about, okay, I'm going to break apart 7 into 5 and 2. So I'm going to do 5 times 6 plus 2 groups of 6. So here, my known fact is 5 6s is 70, and then I'm going to add 2 more groups of 6 because I know that if I'm doing 7 groups of 6, that is 2 more than 5 groups of 6. So 2 times 6 is 12. That's another one we can practice doing in our head. 12 plus 30 is 42. So instead of adding 6 more to get 6 times 6 and then adding 6 more, we could add 12 to 30, which is 2 more groups than 5 groups of 6. Okay, now I'm going to give you another one to work. I want to know, can you use this same method or strategy to solve for 7 groups of 7? So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure out 7 groups of 7 using the strategy of starting with your 5s. 5 times the number. Okay, we're back. This time I'm going to show with a tape diagram Tape diagram is used in the Eureka Math curriculum to show a model to represent the problem. So right here, if we know that 5 groups of 7 is 35, now if I want 7 groups of 7, I have a couple ways I can solve that. I can say, okay, 6 groups of 7, I'm going to add another 7. That would tell me the answer to 6 sevens, and that would be 42. Then I can add 7 more, and that'll tell me the answer to 7 groups of 7. So 2 ones plus 7 ones is 9. 40 plus 0 is 40. So my answer is 49. And as you can see, by starting with our known fact, 5 times 7, we can more efficiently get to 7 groups of 7. So with our model, we showed we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 7. 6 groups of 7, 7 groups of 7. Once again, if you think about it differently, you could break apart the 7 into 2 parts, 5 groups of 7, and then 2 more. We call this the distributive property, which is learned in 3rd grade. So 5 groups of 7 plus 2 more groups of 7 is another way to think about it. If you know that 2 times 7 is 14, and we know 5 sevens is 35, then you can just add 35